Welcome to today's unboxing. I know it's been a while since my last unboxing, a few weeks maybe, and I'm sorry for that, but thanks to you, all my fellow collectors and fellow Sabassemblers, thanks again for your support, and not to disappoint you guys, I'm back here today with another great unboxing. Today, as you know, we have the XM Studios Red Hood Samurai Edition. And this is a statue I first actually was a bit skeptical about getting. First I even considered not to get it, but then I changed my mind to complete the Samurai Edition from XM Studios. So finally I got it in today, and not to disappoint you guys, I decided to unbox this thing immediately. Honestly, I don't even have space to put this thing, but since it's not a huge statue, I just said to myself, oh screw it, I'll just unbox this thing immediately. No, and therefore let's do less talking and get this bad boy out. As you can see, this is not a big box, it's a fairly small box, and it's not heavy at all. I mean, it's not a big statue either. So let's get all the things out. Okay, as usual we have the black envelope from XM Studios, and we have the packaging guide from XM Studios and the QR code for the assembly video. So, wow, it comes with a art print. We have Red Hood and Samurai Edition. Beautiful art print. It's a little bit dark, I believe, but it still looks pretty awesome. I'm always still hoping maybe you can see it. Beautiful picture, and still hoping to frame these things and hang them up somewhere, but unfortunately it's not happened up to now. So, well, hope dies last, so isn't that the case? So let's put this thing aside and let's get the box out. Okay, here we have the Red Hood XM Studios box, as usual, with the nice sturdy cardboard boxes, and we have the Batman logo. As you can see, it has a very almost dark red or brownish kind of color. I mean, perfect for the character Red Hood. And unfortunately my box has some kind of dent. I think maybe fell down or so. But I mean, as we know, XM Studios shipping, boxing, they're pretty sturdy and they should be able to survive these kind of things. So, but we'll see. So let's just open it up. Okay, so on the side we have the DC logo, XM Studios, and that's it for now. And what do we have on the inside? Unfortunately, we don't have a character description on this box, only the list of people involved in this piece. So let's get out all the individual pieces and I'll get back to you for the assembly.
Dum dum, atamo dum dum, dum dum, what a gojam gidum, dum dum, what a wonder gidum, dum dum, what a raya gidum, dum dum, atamo dum dum, dum dum, balangadia galgam. መላየኔስ ነገር እስኪ ሻል ቢለኝ አባይኔ ልሻገር መላ የለው መላየኔስ ፍቅር እስኪ መላ ባገኝ ጭሙጋን ልሻገር እስኪ ተወ ተወኝ ሐኪም አጉላት አድክመኝ ምን ብዬ ነግሬህ ምን ብለህ ታክመኝ ምን ተሰማህ ብሎን ምንድነው ጥያቄ ምን እንደሚሰማኝ እኔስ ምን አውቄ አፈሩ ነጭ ጤፍ መሬቱ ሸጋ አብቃይ አየሩ እንደ ዋግምት የጎኑ ጋት ነቃይ እግሬ እንደለቀጠ የአባይ ማዶን ዳገት የኖረብኝ ህመም ይቶኛል ድንገት የምን ከኔን ለማይረባኝ ነገር ይልቅ ልሂድ አባይን ልሻገር የምን ከኔን ለማይረባኝ ነገር ይልቅ ልሂድ አባይን ልሻገር የምን ድንበር ለማይጠቅም ነገር ተያይዘን በፍቅር እንሻገር የምን ድንበር ለማይጠቅም ነገር ተያይዘን በፍቅር እንሻገር ከወንዝ ወደ ማዶ እንሻገር ጉዳይ የነበረህ የኔ ቢጤ አፍቃሪ እንግዲህ ምን ቀረህ ሙላቱ ካለፈው እፎይ ካለች ሀገር ምን እንጠብቃለን በል ወንዝ እንሻገር በሉ እንሂድ ወንዙን እንሻገር
Okay, welcome back everyone. We've unboxed all the different pieces, and I can tell you the statue doesn't come with too many pieces. It was pretty easy to unbox, and as you saw, so we have here the base, and I can tell you guys the base is actually bigger than I expected. I mean, it's not a big huge base, but it's bigger, and Red Hood certainly is too, and we can talk about that more later on the review. But guys, there are not too many pieces to the statue, and I hope this is also a pretty easy statue to assemble, as I've seen from the video, guys. But so let's get started. Okay, so I believe the first part for this statue is Red Hood himself, and right here in the front, in the center, you have Red Hood's, we have a key with a base, and you just stick that in right here, and I mean parallel with the hind leg there's a slight dent inside the base, and you just fit it in, and that was it. And wow, that was easy, and guys, it's starting to already look pretty exciting, guys. Okay, so I believe, like, unlike other statues, the statue actually doesn't come with any extra pieces like for the base itself, and I believe you just immediately get started with Red Hood himself. So I believe the next part would be these holders for for his samurai sword. You have two of those. You have like one big one with a huge magnet key, and a smaller one that should fit in, like has a small key. I mean, not key, sorry, peg. So you just fit in the magnet one. You see that one right here immediately on the side, and it goes in pretty easily. And then we have this. So you have this tiny little peg on the second one, and that fits into. You have this kind of little. You have this belt from Red Hood on the side, and on the holder of the belt, I believe there's a small hole, and you just stick that tiny peg inside. I guess you're gonna need your 2 fingers for that. You just have to apply a little force, and it goes in. And then you have the holders for the samurai swords right here on the side, hang up parallel. So really nice. So next part, I believe, should be depending on how you're gonna display him. So I'll just start with the first weight to as they showed on the video. So you have The two holders here, you have one with the metal part around it on the side, and that one goes into the bottom one, and you just stick that in. And then you have one without, you have the grip, and of the samurai sword you just stick that in here next to it. Wow, looking pretty nice. These things are pretty big actually, unlike it doesn't look like that on the pictures. So next should be you have the one switch out arm for the left arm, and you just, with the magnet, I believe you stick that inside, and that goes in pretty easily too. Very nice. And so depending on how you're going to display him, you have various switch outs for this statue, I believe, and that's really nice. So I believe we can start off with these small like samurai sword, like metal, like what they call them, knives. And not sure exactly how they're called, but just call them knives. And they do come like, you have this small mixed media. We have with these small like kind of the Asian style kind of little feather pieces here on the side. Looks really nice actually. So you just stick those into the arm. You have for the left hand, and I believe they go in pretty easily with the magnet. And you have the right, and then left, I mean, and then the right. Beautiful. So next would be, depending on which portrait you're going to use, I'll start with my least favorite portrait, and that's the semi-unmasked portrait of Red Hood. And that's the semi-unmasked one, and that part comes with this little strip on the back, and you just have to stick that one into the back of his head, and with the magnet, and then stick it into here, and then we're done. This is already it. This is Red Hood Samurai Edition by XM Studios. And guys, I think I'm happy I got the statue, to be honest with you guys. And it's not a huge statue, as I said before, but XM definitely managed to get that samurai feel like into the character of Red Hood. Looks beautiful, and the base isn't too big. It looks like you're inside some kind of temple or house, like that was damaged by battle. And you have this beautiful kind of dragon or demon kind of statue, like with his belt, like with his tail that just like tangles around the side wall. Looks beautiful. I think for a lot of people, from what I've heard, this piece here is really the reason why they got it, because it does look really nice. You have this really nice green kind of weathering, looks really nice, of the metal. And it's not really a very dynamic statue, but the pose and the way of how his jacket like kind of just like flows inside the wind, and in his kind of pose going forward looks beautiful, guys. And you have this kind of towel like on the back. Maybe this is kind of, I don't know, some place where people wash, because you have this bucket here inside the front, and we have the towel and you have this green kind of dirty kind of water that goes inside the holes, or in between the ground, these cobblestones, and looks pretty nice. And then you have these kind of plates, these tiles like on the sides and on the ground that was damaged. They look really nice too, and wow, this looks pretty nice. And I think it's pretty cool. You have they managed to fuse the kind of this traditional or historical kind of samurai look with the modern mechanical look of Red Hood, and they did a great job there. So, as I said, this statue does come with different switch outs. I mean, even for the head, you have 3 different switch outs. Let's start with the, I would call the regular Red Hood portrait. or the classical look, and this looks really nice. For people who want the more classical look, this would be probably their first choice. And then you have the more, how should I say, you have this kind of Japanese kind of clown or kind of demon kind of portrait. I really like this one because I think for the pose, I think this portrait really works out. I'm usually the kind of person who likes the kind of classical looks, but I think for a change, I mean, this one really did it for me. When I compare it to the other portraits here, I think this portrait really works out, especially because of you have the hair kind of flowing like upwards, and it kind of gives this more dynamic feel, and it kind of works out with the whole pose. The way the wind kind of makes his jacket like kind of blow on the back, and it just works out much better than the other portraits, I believe. And I really love the look. You have this kind of thin, like long nose. This mask just looks amazing, guys, I think. And wow, guys, looks amazing. And I think this is the longest, like the tallest way you could display this statue. And I don't know, I mean, as I said, it's not a huge statue, but just to make sure, let's talk about the height. And in this case, it would be maximum of 54 centimeters, I believe, with this mask. So that's the tallest you could get. And in depth, I think doesn't really matter what switch I use. So for this one, would be like the most furthest one is like the front of the base all the way to the back of the base. So that's, here we're talking about 30.5 centimeters. Let's say 30 to be on the safe side. And that's a pretty small base, honestly, guys. It's not huge. And I mean, in width, with the knives like going this way, the side, here we're talking about a maximum of 41 centimeters. And I mean, that's with the knife. So just the base itself would only be like 29 centimeters. So that's pretty small. And okay, so as I said, there are a lot of switch outs for this statue, so let's continue with that. So let's just take the left arm out first, and I believe next one would be, you have this arm like that holds the top, so that holds the left samurai sword. I can tell you guys, I recommend, it's a little bit tricky to fit this in, but I can tell you guys, first stick in whilst the holder is like already connected, put the grip into the inside first, and then put the arm in later on. That's, I believe, the easiest way to connect this switch out. And next we have this huge metal samurai sword. I believe this thing is actually made out of metal. Like, the sword has this long kind of red kind of stripe on the side, and looks pretty awesome, guys. And it looks like just like he's holding it backwards, and similar to the one switch out from the Orochi Joker statue. And here we go, like, this is one switch out. I mean, we can switch out the portraits. I believe the portraits you can use those for any switch out of the arms, or let's use the classical look. And here we have him. Wow. And we have classical Red Hood with his knives, with his swords, and beautiful look. I mean, the details on his body are really nice and looks pretty cool. And really nice switch outs here, and I believe this is probably one of the smallest switch outs you could use. Even though this sword looks big, it still doesn't go further from the side as then it doesn't go further to the side than the base. It doesn't go over the base, so pretty cool. And even the portrait, this portrait has so many details. Even though it's red, it has these golden stripes on the side, the white eyes that really pop out, and all these mechanical switch outs. I mean, the mechanical look on his portrait looks awesome, guys. And I mean, you could also use as I said, my least favorite switch out. I mean, this semi-unmasked portrait doesn't look too bad, but still, I'll probably never be using this one, honestly. So, okay, and then we have one more switch out. That would be, for that we have to disconnect the left arm first and connect again the previous arm. So for that we have, for this switch out, we're going to need, we have these two guns in his arm. I'm holding these two guns, and let's stick the left one in first. Then we have, or take out the sword first, and then put in the next arm. Or next hand, sorry. And for that we have to put back in the handle or the grip for the first sword, and so no empty parts are there. And which portrait will we use? I'll use my favorite portrait, and so here we are, and this is, I believe, the last switch out and for the arms. And as I said, you can use any portrait you like for these switch outs, so that's really a really good thing. And I really like this pose. I probably will be using this pose with the guns, or with these knives too. Like, these knives really look pretty awesome too. And I mean, I could imagine using the switch out for the knives and for the guns, like every now and then. And really nice. And let's talk about the size. This one goes a little further to the left. Let's see how big this switch out goes. Here we're talking about 20, is it like 32 centimeters in width with this pose with the guns. And that's pretty small and looks beautiful, guys. I love this pose, and especially this portrait. I mean, this portrait really does it for me, guys. Amazing. And I'm really happy I got this, and it definitely will look amazing or phenomenal with all the other samurai pieces I already have. And really nice asset. And for anyone out there like who's still undecided about the statue, you might want to consider getting this, actually, I think. Okay, so I mean, I did all the switch outs and talking about the review, and I mean, I've already even whilst I was talking to you guys, I've seen so many different pieces, and I can tell you guys, this is a really great statue. And talking about the concept, I think XM again did a great job of fusing the samurai look with the classical Red Hood comic look. And as usual, you have this typical XM mechanical kind of design here inside the characters, the boots, the armor, really nice. You have this red kind of Red Hood logo on the chest, beautiful. And I mean, the concept is, it's obvious. I mean, it's a Red Hood, and you have this samurai look, especially with this portrait, beautiful. And the base, I mean, the base is amazing. You have this typical Japanese kind of, maybe it's like a temple washroom, or outside somewhere. Maybe it's outside because everything's wet. You have this kind of like clear resin kind of material in green color, looks like it's dirty with maybe with algae or something. Really nice colors that looks like the water is flowing in between the rocks. In the back here you have like beneath the dragon pillar, you have something like a fountain or kind of water source, and it looks like all the water like in the base comes out from there, and it distributes and goes out in between the different rocks on the base and comes out here in the front. And they did a great job here with the paint job, and I believe it's a different material used here. It's more like a clear resin kind of material that's painted, so it looks more like water or liquid, but great job there. And again, I think the cherry on the top of this statue is definitely this dragon here on the back. And as I said before, I think a lot of people just bought the statue for this thing, because without the statue looks pretty simple actually compared to many other samurai, like these XM Batman samurai statues. This one looks pretty simple, I must say, honestly. It's a bit like I think the Poison Ivy and this statue and the Red Hood are definitely, compared to other ones like Robin, Batman, Nightwing, and Bane. All those have these extremely dynamic poses with this bases, where a lot's going on, and this one here is fairly simple. He's pretty much just standing there and walking forward. I must say there, when we're talking about that, it's looks pretty simple in the pictures, but I believe when you actually see it in person, it's actually much more interesting and it looks better. I must say that. And here, and as I said, like actually when you start looking at the details like on the base, you can see all these different parts here where where the bullets where the bullet impacts were, and you can see how the bullets hit the tiles and they broke, and you can see all those things like hints on all over the base, and it looks pretty cool. And maybe this thing I thought was a towel, maybe I think it's more like a flag probably. I can't really tell what it is. It's probably something like some Japanese symbol, I guess, but it's hard to tell. And it's coming back to Red Hood. His coat or jacket, he has a lot of texture, and the red color, you have different color shadings of red, darker red, and then this lighter red with a different kind of texture, with more like a flat or clean texture. Looks pretty cool too, and definitely the way, the shaping of the coat looks pretty cool. It looks very realistic for the conditions, as if it's really like flowing in the wind. It looks really nice, and all the armor is very similar to the Batman and the Nightwing statues. This very mechanical armor here. It looks pretty awesome. And what else there to say? If I had anything to complain about this statue, maybe it's again, I don't know why XM still has a little bit of problem where rock is supposed to look like rock. Like there's always this kind of shiny kind of tan color to it, and that kind of disturbs me sometimes. But it's not a big deal. Like you can still tell it's rock. It's nicely done, but this, I think it could have been done better. Like it could look more realistic. And as I showed you, like last time on my last video of the Queen Studios Hulk on Throne, like there the rock looked really like rock, like real stone. And I think XM still kind of struggling with that, but that's only like a small thing, but it's nothing new either. I mentioned this all over and over again, like on different XM statues. But Red Hood here definitely is the center of this statue. Your eyes immediately go there, and then next might be this dragon here on the back. This dragon has these yellow golden eyes, and they really pop out next to the green colors, like of the green weathering and brown color of the metal or rock, as a stone color of it, and these yellow eyes, they really pop out. I hope you can see that. Maybe I'll give you close-ups on that. It was done really nicely. And on the back, as I said, you have this flag on top of this broken off wooden pillar. The wood could have been done better, like the paint job here. I mean, it's on the back, you're probably never going to see it, but the paint job of the wood could have certainly been done better. Unfortunately, I have to do say, as much as I'm an XM fan, I do have to criticize this part here. Where the wooden pillar kind of broke off. It's not, I mean, you can tell it's wood, but could have just certainly done better. And where else is that, what else there to say? I mean, XM certainly did a great job with this statue. You can tell it's a Red Hood, and I'm still undecided which way to display him. I'm certainly sure I'll not be using this semi-unmasked portrait, even though it's not bad. I mean, the paint jobs on the portraits are really nice. I mean, especially the white eyes, like on this one here, they really pop out. And also on the kind of classical look. I mean, you can just quickly just switch this out and see how it looks like. I mean, theoretically, you could combine also all the different other switch outs. You could have, on one arm you could have the knife, and on the other arm you could have the I mean, you could have the gun. I mean, you could make it look like this too. I'm not sure if it's initially kind of supposed to be like that, but theoretically you could display him this way too. I mean, so you have what's the 1, 2, 3 switch out for the left arm, and then you have 3 more for the right arm and 3 for the head. So you have 3 times 3 times 3. That makes, theoretically, you have 27 possible display options for this statue. I mean, some of them may not go together, but just as I said, that's why I'm saying theoretically you have 27 display options, since you have 3 heads, 3 left arms, and 3 right arms. So, I mean, good luck with displaying all those guys and trying those out. So I'll just go back to the gun, or I'll leave the knife inside and go back to the other knife again for the right hand, and looks pretty cool too this way. And just use my favorite one here again, and looks beautiful here. And if I had one thing to criticize, actually, one thing that didn't make sense to me is if you display it with, I mean, if you display it with the sword, like he's actually holding the sword like inside the handle, but I mean, theoretically they should have given you maybe a kind of a display option where it should be like open, like it should be empty, because he's holding one sword like in his hand, so like one should be empty, should be open, so it's like he has 3 swords possibly, like he already has 2 swords like next to him and third one in his hand, but question is just, where does this sword go? And that's just one thing that that didn't make sense. Not a big thing, but didn't make sense to me, honestly. So, I mean, I must say, like, what I love about this sword is it's not my favorite switch out, but the material, it really feels like a real sword, and it's a real metal used here. Beautiful, guys. Great job there, XM. So, what else there to say? I mean, if I had to rate the statue out of 10, I think I'd give it 8 or 9. Simply because, like, some of the paint jobs on the base, but definitely when it comes to creating the character, the concept's been done outstandingly, and the paint job and base. It's not like a wow base compared to some other statues, but maybe it's more like an 8 or a very weak 9. Like that's what I would say, because it's not like it's a beautiful statue, but it's certainly not like an eye catcher. When you come into a room, you say like, "Whoa, what's this?" That's just it for me, and that's why I would probably go with an 8. But certainly, if you're a big Batman fan and you're into the XM Studios Batman Samurai line, guys, I recommend you get the statue. It's definitely worth it, and will certainly be a great asset to your collection. And I'm happy I did decide eventually to get it. As I said, I first didn't want to get this statue. I thought, because I wasn't too impressed by the pictures, but as I see it now in front of me, it's actually beautiful, and I hope I'll find place in my displays to display him, because as I said, like honestly, I don't really have much space left. So, but I'm sure I'll find a place for him. So guys, I hope you enjoyed today's unboxing and review video of the new XM Studios Red Hood Samurai Edition. And so if you're new to my channel, please don't forget the like button, and definitely don't forget to subscribe too. So thanks again for all of my fellow sub-assemblers and fellow collectors for your support. I hope to be making more videos sooner in the future. So all I can say now is, as usual, God bless you, God bless our statues, and have a nice day. Oh, sorry guys, not too early. We did forget something. I was lucky enough to get actually one plaque for this statue. So let's unbox it and see what's inside. And here we have the Red Hood plaque. It has the classical Red Hood look on the portrait. On the plaque. I would have hoped they would have used this portrait here for the plaque, but still, I'm very happy I was able to get one. So guys, now I can say, God bless you, God bless our statues, and have a nice day.
Amalele wartantala wezamalele nano wezamalele nano amalele buntuntala wezamalele nano wezamalele nano amalele wartantala wezamalele nano wezamalele nano شجع ترمبولي ويا دخيوان بولي يانا يانا شجع يانا يانا ويوجن بيا بنا عجبت بشانو ما وردان تهلا ويأدين وان جيراني بشانو ما بونتون تالا وزدين وانجيراني وأدين وانجيراني جالة تكو ما بونتون تالا وقلبي ما هيراني وقلبي ما هيراني ترمبولي الشكا ترمبولي ويا دخيوان يانا يانا شكا يانا يانا ويوجد بيا بنا عجبات خير تنياكو وردان تالا وين الناونين تورا وين الناونين تورا خير تنياكو بونتون تالا وين الناونين تورا وين الناونين تورا أفانا سومانا وردان تالا سيدون قدونين تورا سيدون قدونين تورا ترمبولي شكا ترمبولي ويا دخيوان بولي يانا يانا شكا يانا يانا ويوجن بيا بونا خدوا دربونا بونتون تالا والقلوكي فنا والقلوكي فنا خدوا دربونا بونتون تالا والقلوكي فنا والقلوكي فنا نولجو دايما بونتون تالا والوالقوتي فنا والوالقوتي فنا شكا ترمبولي ويا دخيوان بولي يانا يانا شكا يانا يانا ويوجن بيا يانا ونشي شكا يانا ونشي ويمن ما ينكاشي ترمبولي شكا ترمبولي ويا دخيوان بولي يانا يانا شكا يانا يانا ويوجد